I would. I don't know for it.
Nope, I don't see him no more. Who?
Hey, Monsignor.
Nope.
I'd shake your hand. How are you doing? Now, did you get moved or are you still downtown? Oh, right there.
I'm right there.
They didn't move you.
I saw what
No.
I said.
I have an organization.
Well, elbow
At the
popping.
church.
There's our mayor, you guys. Mayor
Texting with Monsignor
Strickland.
MacArthur the other night.
There's Mayor Strickland.
You doing okay?
Oh, there he go. He's here. He's here. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Martina, let me grab another mask. One second.
Hi, Andre.
Let me grab one of these masks. Y'all got extra masks?
I got one in the car.
I need it.
Okay, I'm going to get my car right here.
You'll hear about it right now.
I'm going to get your mask.
Okay. I have.
I know.
Sorry, can I move up just a little? I'm tall. They want to make the room.
Help us out.
First, I want to thank everyone for being here today. As we jumpstart the reconciliation and solutions to our problems, I think it's important that first we define that problem. Racism has been built into our system from the very get-go of this country. And although I think we're the greatest country in the world, we were based on racism. It is literally in our United States Constitution. For 400 years, we've sinned. Now we need to fix it. And this man to my left right now is leading us to that peaceful reconciliation. Oh, and the man to my right, I'm sorry, I didn't say.
Yes, sir.
I don't have all the answers. And frankly, as a white man, I don't even know if I have all the questions. I was an adult and had friends my age before I even knew that black parents had to teach their children, have the talk with them, or the police talk. Because if a black person is pulled over, particularly a young black male is pulled over by police, there is a much greater likelihood that something tragic happens if somebody like me is pulled over. That's wrong. It's built into our system. It's in our hearts. It's in our subconscious. And we have to fix that. And I want you to know that as mayor, I am absolutely committed to fixing that problem of how the police deal with black people. Like I said, I don't have all the answers, I don't have all the questions. But these folks behind me have started a conversation with me to open my eyes and teach. And I did a lot of listening today. And we're going to have a series of discussions that will lead into concrete actions. It's not just a philosophical discussion. We will have concrete actions to make it better. Obviously, our number one goal is to fix the problem that our police department and every police department in the country has. And that's how they treat black people differently than white people. Together, though, I think we can solve this. So, George Floyd was not the start of this problem, but I want to make him the start of this solution. We all saw the video and were horrified by it. But I guess I want to talk to the white people in Memphis, like me. We saw the horrific action, but quite frankly, it didn't resonate with us quite like black people. Because while we saw horrific action against another human being, they saw somebody that could be their brother or their son, their uncle, because they've had these stories and facts. They've lived it. Their family members have lived it. And we need to be able to open our ears and listen to the facts. We can see with our eyes and our hearts, and actually the data, that black people are treated differently than white. And it has tragic consequences sometimes. I want to commit to you that we will do everything we can to fix that problem. So, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Unless you want to say anything?
First and foremost, I want to thank the mayor, all city officials, all the pastors, all of the city leaders that came out, to include Frank Gotti. He's over there. The mayor and this team behind us, we had a conversation today about starting to build that journey of not only constructive conversations, but also solutions. There are some working orders that we have right before the mayor as we speak. Those orders, for the most part, have been figured out. Those orders, for the most part, have been thought out. And I think when the time comes for us to talk about them, I think the community will realize that we are off to a much-needed beginning of a very, very long journey that Memphis has to go ahead. Myself and Frank, we are committed to not only holding our city's mayor accountable, but our police director accountable, our county sheriff accountable, the city leaders accountable, and I'm sure the city leaders are expecting to hold the community accountable, to maintain peace. When we work together, communicate our indifferences, we can come to solutions. We may disagree. Guess what? We've never been here before, so we may offend one another initially. But if we remain consistent to peace, consistent to understanding, consistent to equality, consistent to joy, consistent to all those things that Dr. Martin Luther King would have exclaimed, he would have experienced when he saw the mountaintop. I believe Memphis, again I'll say, Memphis can be the catalyst of change for the entire world. We want to thank the mayor and all the city leaders who came out tonight. Our protest is going to be a little bit louder. I think we're a bit more ready now than we've ever been before. Everyone's been saying, what's next? This was phase one. We are committed. These folks behind us, myself, Frank Gotti, we are committed every single week for the next 4 weeks to have very serious and hard conversations. If the community can commit to just maintaining peace, we can come up with solutions to make Memphis better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Could I ask you, do you think that this effort starts with perhaps changing the police response to the protests that are underway now? And not just the protests that these two gentlemen have been involved in, but that the other groups have been involved in?
We talked about that today, and we'll continue those discussions, but I don't have a final answer here.
And Mayor Strickland, who was and how did you find these folks to talk to you? What was the criteria for meeting with you?
I'm sorry?
What was the criteria for meeting with you? Because groups like MICA, Black Lives Matter, the Concerned Coalition for Citizens, they have said they've tried to meet with you, and other faith leaders have said they've reached out to you and haven't heard back. What was the criteria to be a part of this group today?
Well, we've started this discussion days ago with this group, and it just culminated in a personal meeting today. But we had talked about this, and I think Mr. Hill has shown himself to the, and Mr. Gotti have shown themselves to be the leader of the peaceful protest.
What can you tell us about what's next? Is it just ongoing conversations?
Yeah, with action-oriented goals, and at the end have some specific steps that we want to implement.
So for everyone that's been watching these protests across the last week, what would you advise that they look for? Is it announcements from your office? Is it announcements from protesters? What should they look for next?
Well, it's not going to be anything, like Devontae said, it's going to be 4 meetings over a period of a month, and we're going to see where we go from there. We would hopefully make joint announcements. But I do want to make a comment that what Mr. Hill and Mr. Gotti have done over the last few days is nothing short of remarkable. When you look at all across the country where some of the protests have not been peaceful, and they led this effort for a peaceful protest is a remarkable and a thing that needs to be congratulated on.
So then it's a meeting every week for the next 4 weeks with the two groups?
Yes, sir.
And Director Rawlings, what's the status of those use of force investigations from some of the protesters since last week?
Look, those investigations are ongoing, and let me say this. We're standing on hallowed ground. The last time I was here, me and the mayor stood behind the 1968 sanitation workers that marched from this holy ground. So we're going to move forward. We're going to do the best we can to improve the police department, and that's going to be all I'm going to say for today. You've heard from Devontae, you've heard from the mayor, and now it's time to do the hard work. So y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
And Mayor, can you give us an idea of what the early steps will look like?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Good to see you. Good. No interview. No interview. No, we're gonna stick together. No interview.
Hey, how are you? Good.
Hi, darling. How you doing?
I appreciate y'all's patience.
We're being open. You did it.
Oh, you did. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor.
All right. I'm out, sir.
Pastor Rufus.
Eli, bro. I know.
He probably got his crazy with them and him. I be like, hey.
Yes, ma'am. And Kayla, you hop in real quick. All right, here we go. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, no, smiling.
Kayla's been an incredible leader.
I gotta go.
Last one.
Oh my
Kayla,
God,
get in there. She's been here every night. She's been here every night.
Frank, get back in that picture.
Come here, Caleb. She registered for the following.
Oh, you're not going to be in there.
You ready? All right, on 3. 1. 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank y'all very much. Thank you.
My birthday's in 2 days.
You need to get a savings.
Are we
I think I may not to just send Taylor my career. Today was incredible. We made history today. Let me see this stuff.
So far the promise is the 4th. Come on, man.
If you're just joining us today, this is Max Garland with the commercial appeal here at the I Am a Man Plaza. There was a brief press conference with Memphis Mayor Jim Strickland, along with activist Devontae Hill and Frank Gotti, and we see them taking media questions over here, so we are going to join them.
The only reason why that is so is because of state legislation that prevents it from being a much easier process. But through City Council, it is very possible for a clerk to receive that. We also talked about expanding the clerk budget. That is something that the mayor committed to doing, and we're going to go ahead and try to figure out what we can do for clerk as a community to help structure it to where it is not only efficient but also resourceful. So now that the mayor has committed to including a larger budget for clerk, one of the other things that we talked about as it pertains to clerk was developing a structure or strategy for someone who represents the grassroots community to represent, that is appointed by the community, that represents the community and of the community, to be on that clerk board as well, which was something that was very important to not just the two of us, but to activists all over the city. They thought that was a very important thing, and so we thought that it was very important for us to go in there and advocate on that behalf. The most important thing that we got out of there would be the training of MPD. The director, along with the mayor, even the county mayor and sheriff, they agreed that over the next 4 weeks, we're going to be sitting down and we're going to make sure that the training for force and power doesn't overwhelm or overpower the training for community. And so we're going to go through the training of MPD, and it is said or was said that even if more time needs to be added to MPD's training structure so that we can add more community time, add more community conversations, then that is something that's very possible and that they are willing to do. So it was a bit more than we actually went into the meeting for, and so we're kind of grateful. We know that that is not it, that is not all. This is only the beginning of, again, a very, very long journey that we've all got to take. But I commend the mayor. You know, I give credit where credit is due because I'm a fair and balanced person. I think Frank is also a fair and balanced person, and we look to hold the mayor accountable. We look to hold Police Director Rollins accountable. We're going to hold Sheriff Bonner, we're going to hold them accountable too. Just because they came out here and took a photo, took a picture, did a video, doesn't mean that all is well. It just means thank you for coming to the table. Let's eat and let's deal with what's in front of us as a city so that we can heal. We've been saying it all week, even though Frank and I have been trying to figure out our paths, which now we understand. Frank is the tension and I'm the passion. And we've got to have the two together in order to build this community, because there is a demographic of people who make up the city of Memphis who are very upset, who are very angry, who are very hurt. And the relationship between law enforcement and community is contentious. So when law enforcement is present, a lot of citizens don't want to be present. They don't want to be on the same street as a police officer. So we're trying to fix the relationship between the two. We know it's not going to be easy. We know that there'll be all types of conspiracies and all types of craziness. But there's a group of people here in Memphis that are committed. And they've met us out here for 8 nights straight, that they want peace in this city. No matter if you're white, no matter if you're black, no matter if you're tall, no matter if you're straight. It's time for Memphis to heal. It's time for us to do it. And it's time for us to do it together.
How long do you plan to lead demonstrators to the streets of Memphis?
We'll lead demonstrations until we feel like our city's healed. There is no time limit on it. The reality is a peaceful protest doesn't hurt anybody. So if we decide to call a peaceful protest for the next 20 days, we can do that because they're peaceful, they're community building. Frank and I being able to find our differences between the two, find a common space. Conflict resolution. I think Director Rollins said, if I'm not mistaken, 70% or more of domestic issues in the city of Memphis have been domestic calls between two people who have had a conflict and have not been able to come to a non-violent resolution. And so out here we've been dealing with non-violent resolutions, we've been dealing with conflict resolutions, having uncomfortable conversations. Frank and I are not afraid to trying to figure it out right here in front of everybody. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna do it right here, and we're gonna work together. And that's what's most important. We've got to be committed to the cause. Hear this: those who are protesting on other sides of the city, doesn't mean that they are separate from us. Doesn't mean that there's a separate movement. It means we are all collectively trying to work together to make this city a better place. And so if we got to do a peaceful protest here at the I Am a Man Plaza, and there's a group of people who got to do a protest over in Germantown, and there's a group of people who got to do a protest over in Frazier, wonderful. That's a lot of voices being heard for the same cause, and we're headed to the same direction.
Why should people believe this time will be different? I mean, they've heard from city leaders for decades now, making all of these promises. Why should they believe this time will be any different?
You want to answer that, Frank?
Well, one thing about it, they gave us their word, right? Well, this time here, I'm gonna lean on them. I'm gonna go to these meetings every week, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna hold them accountable.
You've been passionate this week about affecting what you see as real change. Where is this in that process for you? Do you feel like today is a significant step?
Yeah, because like we asked the Director Rollins, hold them officers accountable for what they do to us on these streets.
It looks like when everyone meets, I mean, Devontae, you mentioned kind of being kind of wanting to see it and not just hear it, but it looks like when everyone gets together, there is real communication, that there is real discussion going on. Did that surprise you today, the element of that, of how people were open-minded or looking forward to change? Was it what you expected? How did the experience go compared to what you thought it might be?
I think Frank and I did a great job at deciphering what the tone of society is right now. You know, the difference between now and many decades prior to this moment in Memphis. I can only deal with Memphis, and I can't compare Memphis to other cities. We have a large group of people who are our allies that don't look like us, that are saying, I want to know, I hear you, I feel you, I understand. And so we've got to give them an opportunity to bridge that healing as well between white people and black people. We've got to have those conversations. And so the fact that that was the tone here in the city for the past 8 nights, you know, we've marched to the historic Mason Temple. We've sang Amazing Grace. You know, we've charged up millennials. We've charged up the older and more seasoned crowd. And I think everybody's on one accord. I think everybody is on one accord. No one is drifting off, and I think it's just our job to remain optimistic. We've got to remain optimistic for a promising future. We got to remember also that the spirit of Dr. King still lives here. Just because he was murdered in this city doesn't mean his spirit is no longer with us.
Now, you both have been passionate about activism and protest for a long time. This isn't your first time doing this. Why is this time different than all the rest? Or do you feel that way, that this is a different situation?
It's different because a lot of white people marching with us now.
Period.
Why does that matter?
It shows unity. It shows unity between our color and their color.
Do you think a white voice has more power than a black voice?
I don't think that. I'm not going to give that statement power. I'm not going to say that a white voice has more power than a black voice. But I think in our society, sometimes a white voice is oftentimes more heard than those of color, for sure.
What do you want white people to do if they come out here? What do you want them to do? If they're sitting at home and they see these protests, what can they do?
Well, for starts, they got to have the conversation within their own community. They've got to challenge their neighbor. They've got to have those conversations with their church. They've got to publicly denounce racism and let people know that racism is disgusting. That racism is just as bad as pedophilia. Racism is just as bad. It's a disgusting way of living. It's a disgusting way of thinking. And I think if our white community becomes obvious with that, especially our evangelical community, become obvious and intentional in their statements, I think then we'll only begin to start having those conversations so that we can move towards productive action.
And do you think that the people who have been coming out to this protest will see what Mayor Strickland said today and accept it right away? Do you think it'll take a while? I mean, he didn't come at 7, I think, when the largest crowd is usually here. He came at 6, when it was, I mean, frankly, mostly media. Do you think it would have been more meaningful and more powerful if he came later? And do you think that what he said today will be accepted?
Well, backlogged. Him coming out, and I'm not defending the mayor, I'm just stating the facts. Mm-hmm. Him coming out here at this moment was not planned. We literally just convened a very long and frustrating and stressful meeting, and we concluded with solutions. And it was said, well, since the media walked us in here, maybe we ought to just go out and address the media right now. And so it was very impromptu. It was incredibly organic. So I can't say that it was staged, and I'm a fair guy. I'm a fair person, and I'll get a lot of critics who will come at me for jumping behind Mayor Strickland. For me, I just need you to commit to peace and change and equality and justice in the city of Memphis. That's all I care about, no matter the candidate.
I'm just trying to make it better for Memphis and the people in Memphis and the black community, for real.
How long did the meeting last?
I don't remember. I think it started this long.
Hours.
Yeah, it was definitely hours, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
How soon will we start hearing about those solutions?
Had you walked up 10 minutes earlier, you probably would have heard. But thus far, the first three things we dealt with: police training, cultural sensitivity training. The group that was here, they're a very accountable group, very deeply rooted into the community. And so over the course of the next 4 weeks, we're going to be going over the training of MPD. Director Rawlings has committed to allowing modifications in that training, even if it means adding time to the training of MPD for the sake of cultural sensitivity. Because as it stands right now, there's more training for force than there is for community. And we want to make sure that those two training essentials are balanced. And so we walked away with that. We walked away with everything that we asked for as it pertains to clerk. And there's another ongoing thing that we're looking to hear back from by the end of the week that we won't mention just yet because we don't want to mess up the structure and the process of that. But there is something that I think is very important to Memphis activists here in the city of Memphis that I think is going to play out well as well.
Anyone else you want to hear from?
I think the most important person to hear from was the mayor. And I think everyone who is behind the mayor's statement, whether you're behind the mayor or not, and you're in leadership, I think it's just your responsibility to speak. So I think we saw pastors come out. We're starting to see black clergy members. We've seen some degree of even white clergy members, evangelicals. So it's just time for everybody to speak out. It's time for Memphis to be the catalyst of change for the entire world. It's just our time. It's our time, and all we've got to do is get on one accord and have the same mind.
And I want to thank the pastors for coming out and being behind us and helping us. For real.
Yeah. What me and Frank needed was a moral compass. We both wanted the same ending. Our methodology was just a little bit different. I was saying keep the peace, and Frank was saying, well, we have kept the peace, and it hasn't proved to work for us just yet. And so I had to basically take Frank to breakfast early this morning after 3 hours of sleep, and say, look, Frank, just try it my time, just one time. Let's just try it this way. And we agreed that it's not a my way, it's our way. And our way doesn't even include myself or Frank. Our way is the Memphis way. And the Memphis way is together. And that's how we're going to do it. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, no, you're good. Running stuff all over the place.
I can't see.
How you doing?
Max Garland with the commercial appeal again. If you're just joining us, city and police leaders, including Mayor Jim Strickland, along with police leaders and activists leading protesters over the past 8 days, they said they met this afternoon and will continue to do so, hold a series of meetings over the next month for better treatment of African American citizens, specifically in interactions with police officers. Per activists Devontae Hill and Frank Gotti, that includes better police training, including cultural sensitivity training. Apparently Director Rawlings had conversations about changing that training possibly. The conversations include training of force and power, the use of that, and possibly adding more community time for the training of police officers. So when Jim Strickland said this is the beginning of a long journey ahead in terms of conversations, hang with us, because it seems like there's going to be another demonstration, another march tonight, led by Devontae Hill and Frank Gotti, who have been leading protests here in the Memphis area over the past 8 days, sparked after the death of George Floyd, among several other African Americans, in involvements with police officers. So in both the activists said they wanted to hold Jim Strickland and other city leaders accountable. So as soon as we hear more information, keep following the commercial appeal. We will keep you updated as soon as we can.
We're at the heart of racism.
Did you get to say hello?
Was gonna make the he retweeted it on his post, immediately tweeted it, and everyone's like,
Here's the scene here today. We are at the I Am a Man Plaza next to the Claiborne Temple. Looks like several protesters have already gathered. These demonstrations have traditionally started at 6:30. So we are running behind if that is going to be the case again tonight. Usually they have led marches throughout the city of Memphis. Yesterday they went to the historic Mason Temple, and at its peak several hundred protesters were marching along. Again, we have reporters on the scene here, including myself, Max Garland. Keep an eye out and check out the Memphis Commercial Appeal for further updates regarding the recent announcement by Mayor Jim Strickland, along with other officials, including activists Devontae Hill and Frank Gotti. Safety has been a priority among these demonstrators. Many wearing masks as they march during the COVID-19 pandemic. Demonstrators continuing to gather slowly here at the I Am a Man Plaza in downtown Memphis. We have been keeping track as well of separate demonstrations throughout the day, so please go to the Commercial Appeal for further information on that.
When we get out here and protest, we need to let our children know one thing. We're out here for them. This is about our children. Our children are suffering every single day of their lives, and we're not doing anything about it. We have children that's been killed all over the world, and nobody's saying anything about it. These are babies, 3 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, 16 years old. We came today to join you to say, peace is with us, with you. We got to help one another. We got to love each other.
demonstrations are not just limited to on foot. If you need a recap of last night, we saw protests pop up beyond downtown Memphis, including a group that briefly shut down part of Germantown Parkway near the Agri Center. That group was about 100 protesters strong at its peak. It was led by Darren Abston, who said they were able to shut down traffic there for more than an hour before they were cleared.
Come here, Katie. Hold on. They said we are by the big thing of being
If you're just joining us, Max Garland with the Commercial Appeal again. This live stream for the Commercial Appeal, it primarily plans to look at downtown protests led by pastor and activist Devontae Hill, along with fellow activist Frank Gotti, who came together and met with Mayor Jim Strickland along with other city officials this afternoon. We have the full details available on the Commercial Appeal website. But these protesters, they have been marching throughout downtown for several nights now. They've been emphasizing a message of unity among demonstrators. These marches have largely been peaceful, particularly the past two nights when they wrapped up around the 10 p.m. city curfew time. We will see if that holds true again tonight, so stick with us.
Yes! We're all here for justice. Right? If you're not here for justice, you're in the wrong place. We are not here for photo ops. We're not here to be seen. We're here for justice. That's why I'm here. Now, I don't know what you came from. It might be a lot of people that's got differences. Just almost got into it with some people at the gas station. There's a lot of negative energy out here. And I ain't burning no sage, so I need everybody to get on one accord. If you're out here for justice, say justice. Justice. Say no peace. No peace. No justice. No justice. No peace. No peace. That's what we're here for. Now that we got that understood, my name is P. Moses, if you don't know me in the flesh. I ain't got a mask. And don't have one on because I have asthma and I'm not going to die like that, okay? If you got one on, that's cool. We're going to practice whatever the law is, and that's being peaceful. Black Lives Matter is a peaceful organization. We're a peaceful organization, and we appreciate everybody who came out here, no matter what color you are. Our organization is open to work with all people, and we're here for justice. And that's all I want to say.
We are down here because we are tired of the officers killing us. We are tired of us killing one another. I want to ask everybody to stop the killing. Whoever you are, we want to ask you to stop this senseless killings in our community. We need to stop it. Whoever doing it is wrong. It's a demon that's in our soul that's causing these violence. I lost my son 17 years ago, shot in the head with an AK-47 assault rifle. We need to stop. We need to join together. We need to have peace in our community, y'all. We need to stop this. We need to stop. It's not a police problem. It's all our problem. It's a community problem. We got to stop this. Let's come together for peace. Let's love one another. Let's love one another. That's that. All killing. I'm tired of mothers coming to me, got to put their sons in the grave. no matter who killed them. I'm tired of fathers seeing their sons buried, no matter who killed them. A death is a death. A life gone is a life gone. I'm asking everybody in Memphis, Tennessee, across this country right now. Let's come together. Black, white, blue, green, orange. That's out. A death is a death. I saw my son there on the ground for 2 hours, bleeding out his head, dead. And I couldn't help him as a father. And now, since 17 years ago, I've seen so many our young people go to their graves at the moment I just cry out. They said, why did my son get killed? Why did my daughter get killed? We got to stop it. We cannot trade bad for bad. When we got a bad apple in the bag, if I got a bag of apples in one bag, I put the bad apple and throw them away and eat the good apple. Everybody's not bad. So we got to stop this battle. We got to stop this fight. We got to come together and hug and love on one another. Because it will not stop till the community come together. Community come together. I'm begging and pleading. I'm praying that we come together and stop this madness. We are in a state of madness, y'all. We are standing mad. Not just ask y'all to stand with me. Stand with me. Stand with me. We are in a state of madness, and we got to change it. I will not accept that we have come to a state in our life where everybody's mad at everybody. We're mad at the police. We're mad at one another. No, let's stop it. Let's stop it. Let's ask God to come in and prevail. Let's ask God to prevail about peace, y'all. We can do it if we hug on one another, if we love one another, if we embrace one another. I don't care if nobody's standing out here watching me right now, on TV or wherever. Anybody standing out here watching, if your son, your daughter, your grandson, that you have to walk out the street and see laying in the street, like I watched my son up at the tree with his head blown, with his head blown off, with an AK-47. It didn't make no difference who did it. He still did. And I vowed from that day, I will not rest. And when I see us getting mad at one another, fighting one another, looting and all this crazy madness, it will not stop, y'all. It will not stop. Let's send our message to get the bad apples out the barrel and throw them away. But let's keep the good apples. Let's keep the good apples. Because last time I went to Kroger and brought a bag of apples, I took the bad apple and threw it away, but I kept my other apples and ate them up. So let's do that, y'all. Let's stop fighting. Let's stop arguing. Let's say we all together. We all love one another. I can't bring my son back. 17 years ago I vowed to stay on his back. Because I want to save your child, your son, your grandson, your granddaughter. I want to save them. I want to send my son that daddy stayed on the battlefield to save humanity. Not my son, I can't bring him back. February this year, I had a march. 3 6-year-olds got killed in 1 month. 6 years old. All they were doing in the house playing with the bullet come through the wall. When I'm sitting out in the yard playing the bullet hit him with a drive-by shooting. Come on, y'all. These kids wasn't doing nothing. So don't get fooled about all the rioting and looting. That's a deception of the day. That's a deception of Satan. We have to send a message of peace. We want police to treat us decent. If it ain't, throw the apple out. We want the parents to act right. If it ain't, throw that parent out. We want the teachers. If they ain't right, throw that teacher out.
Come on. That's right.
If the children ain't right, beat their ass. But we got to stop putting everything on everybody like everybody's wrong. If you want to say something, Mary, come on, Mary, up here. And everybody come join us, y'all. Join us for peace. Peace, y'all. Peace. Let's stop the violence. It don't solve nothing. When we get to fighting, we get to killing, we get to breaking in, we still at the same spot. We are tired of seeing our babies die. I'm tired of going to funerals, 6-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-years-old, and mothers keep calling me. Say, it happened to my son and didn't nobody see nothing. They don't have no suspect. So no, let's stop. I want y'all to pray with me, man, today.
Pray with me that we stop this madness that's going on in our community. Mary Trice is on to stop brutality as we join together to try to stop some of this madness.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for your attention today because I'm a parent. Not just a parent, I'm a grandmother. And to see these children lose their lives, it hurts. When we lose a baby, anybody out here ever lost a baby, a nephew, a niece? Then how do you feel? Raise your hand right now if you lost somebody that was under the age of 18 right now. Raise your hand. The only way you'll feel the pain that we feel is when you lose. The devil will knock at your door. Don't never think that he won't knock at your door. He's powerful enough to get in if you let him in. And when he get in, y'all, he want to steal, kill, and destroy. And that's what he'll do. So today we just asking for prayer. We want to come out here and let you guys know. We know and we feel your pain. You think we don't feel your pain? We do. But it's just another way that we have to go. When you fight for the children, see, that's a powerful job. Because in the Bible, God talk about two people. He talk about the children and the old people. Your job is to take care of the people. If you're the middle-aged people, we got to do our job. And our job is what? To save our children, to protect our children, for better education. Get our parents better jobs. Get our parents things that we need where we don't have to steal, take, and rob. Right. Come together, not fight. And the reason why we came, because I heard you speak yesterday. You don't want to tear nothing down. And that's good. Because if we tear it down, what we going to do about our children when they in need? If we need something, how we going to get it if we don't let the truck see it? If we take and rob and beat people and break in all these buildings, y'all, we won't have nothing. And guess what? Our children won't have nothing. That's right. It's all about the children with me, Stephen Moore, Miss Betty, all these people, rural services. When you seen us pull up in there, that's how we come. Because guess what, parents? That's your last ride too. Yeah. Not just my babies, not just our babies. That's everybody's last ride. It's a guaranteed ride for everybody. The only difference is which color car would you like to ride in. If you don't get it together today, Memphis, Tennessee, we will lose. Come together, love one another. In Jesus' name, I pray forever and always. Amen.
Somebody say amen. Amen. Somebody say stop the killing. Stop the killing. Somebody say stop the killing. Stop the killing. Somebody say stop the killing. Yeah. Come on, put your hands together for this organization. Right there. Come on, y'all can do better than that. Let me hear you. We're gonna come together as a city. Hey guys, I got a question. How are we gonna do this? Together. How are we gonna do this? Together. We're gonna do this. Together. We're gonna do this. Together. All right. Listen, let's go to the green. We want to make sure we're done in time enough for curfew. I don't know if y'all just saw what just happened or not, but we just had a very long meeting, Frank Gotti and I, with city leaders here in the city, the mayor, the county mayor, the police director, and the Shelby County Sheriff, and there has been some action that I want to talk to you guys about. Somebody say what? What? I'm glad you asked. Come on, let's get on the green and let's talk, all right? Let's go. It's so necessary. Somebody do the picture.
Hey, how are you? All right, you good? Good. Thank you. This is actually legit.
Dude, I was looking for you, man. Okay, come on. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
That's a no-tow zone on the other side of the road.
We got to make sure that the momentum that we saw last night. Wait a second.
She
What's
said
right?
that's enough time when we parked.
You parking over here.
God, where'd he go? I don't know where he went. Needless to say, I want you guys to find you a place like so on the green line, just like this. There's enough space for all of us, I think, if we were to spread out. While you guys do that, if you're not registered to vote, tonight's your opportunity. Is there anybody in here who needs to register to vote? I need you to step into the green grass. Step into the green grass. Okay, are you taking? Oh, great. If you need to register to vote, step into the green grass. We got two people. If you need to register to vote, step into the green grass. We can register you to vote, doesn't matter which state you live in, Arkansas, Mississippi, or Tennessee. There's a spirit of unity out here tonight. Everybody place, everybody find themselves on the green line. Listen, on the count of 3, I need each and every one of you, as loud as you possibly can, to scream and shout, I can't breathe. All right? We're going to do a practice round. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Yes. Okay, let me listen to that. All right. What's today? Wednesday? This is the 8th night, right? All right, so let's, who's first time? It's your first time out here tonight. Your first time. Almost the whole crowd. Y'all, let's give it up for our newcomers tonight. Woo! Newcomers, give it up for the people who've been coming every night. Woo! All right. Listen, we do icebreakers to give people time to find the park, and people who come late, we want them to be able to jump on board. All right? But here's the deal. You guys have got to be as loud as you can possibly be tonight. Okay? The entire city is dependent upon you. Did you hear what I just said? The entire city is dependent upon you. You ought to put your hands together for being here. So here we go. On the count of 3, as loud as you can possibly scream. I want you to scream it so loud to where the people in Minnesota, the people in Atlanta, the people in Louisville, Kentucky, the people in Nashville, who are angry, who are frustrated, so much so that they found themselves on a side of history that is exerted with rage. I want you to scream it so loud that they hear you. Are y'all ready, Memphis? Yeah. Are you ready? Yeah. I need you to scream it so loud like it's a Final Four Memphis Tiger game. I know that's loud. Y'all ready? We're going to say, I can't breathe. It's going to be the start of some pivotal change here tonight. Y'all ready? Okay, here we go. On the count of 3, I'm gonna direct you. I'm gonna go, I can't breathe. Okay? So you'll know the cadence. Y'all ready? Y'all don't look ready. I'm not convinced that they're ready. Y'all ready or y'all ready? All right. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. That was okay. That was okay. That was good for a starter. Now here's the deal. This is why I have a problem with the way that sounded. If you look to your left, if you're standing beside someone who looks just like you, I want you to move. If you're standing beside someone who looks just like you, as it pertains to the color of your skin, I want you to move.
That means if you're white, you ought to be standing by somebody who's black.
You good?
I think we're good.
All right, I'm take that.
We're good.
We're going to fill in right here. There you go. We got some space over here for you guys who are just walking up. We got some space over here. We want to fill it all the way in. We don't want this sound to leave Memphis. So we got to close in this gap here. Y'all don't mind. Go ahead. Y'all, you guys are fair. Hey, I got you. Hey, bud. What's up, man? What's this thing? He says, this shirt stays live. Absolutely. Come be right here. Hey, man, what's up, man? I like your glasses. Why don't you come and be right here for me? Right here. I want you to stand beside someone who's different. Somebody say different. Somebody say different. One of the things you need to know about being different is that we can't use language that suggests that we're all colorblind. I know we're in the conversation of racism. It's a very soft, it's a very tenuous topic. And a lot of times it boils down to education. Somebody say education? Education. And communication. Communication. We're going to educate and communicate tonight. Y'all ready? Yeah. All right, here we go. So when you make statements like, listen, I'm not a racist. I was born not to see color. Guess what? The sentiments of your heart are probably incredibly pure. But what that does, it pulls away from each of our unique identities. So if you are a white person, can't be colorblind. If you are a black person, can't be black, can't be a colorblind, can't be colorblind. We have got to learn to value each other within the spheres of our very own uniqueness. So the fact that this is the language I'm talking about.
Let me stock on the rally real quick. He got a stain on his head, okay?
Hey, I know for a fact that I'm not racist. I value every single person, no matter their skin color. Every black person, gotta say it, every black person, every Middle American, every Asian, every Indian, doesn't really matter. Whether you're tall, you're short, no matter what it is, I value you based on your uniqueness. Everybody understand that? Yeah. So, is anybody out here gonna say, I'm colorblind? Yeah. Y'all got that, right? Yeah. Meaningful conversation. Somebody say constructive? Constructive. Conversations. Conversations. All right, let's move forward. All right, so now that we moved, and we're standing beside people that we don't really look like, hey, Kayla, can I ask one? Now that we moved and we're standing beside people we really don't really look like, I want to try this one more time. As loud as you can possibly say it. Like you want your city to change. For the rest of its existence, I want you to scream it as loud as you can. I can't breathe. Y'all ready? Yeah. It sounds like they're ready. Are y'all ready? Yeah. Are y'all ready over here? Yeah. All right, here we go on the count of three. Y'all ready? Yeah. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. I can't breathe. Take a knee. Take a knee. If you got a sign, you ought to hold it up. We're going to take a knee for 9 minutes. We're going to take a knee for 9 minutes. Somebody would ask, why are we taking a knee for 9 minutes? Didn't that officer take a knee? Why are we doing that? Because before that officer took a knee, there was an athlete who took a knee. For the very reason that we're doing it just right now. Because Black Lives Matter. It doesn't pull away from the conversation that we all are precious in the sight of the Lord. But the conversation right now is geared around building bridges across ethnic communities. We're going to have hard conversations about racism.
You guys have been on your knee now for about 2 minutes, and your knee's probably already hurt. Why? Because it hurts. But for 9 minutes, George Floyd screamed, "I can't breathe." He cried out for water. He couldn't breathe in such a terrible way that he called out for his mother. "Mama, somebody help me, I can't breathe. My back is hurting, my neck is hurting, I can't breathe." Give me some water, give me something. I can't breathe. Can't breathe. And while we are here for 5 more minutes, imagine not being able to breathe for this long. Imagine not having breath in your body this long. You gotta hold your breath for 9 minutes. Because you're black. Because the color of your skin, I'm gonna take life from your body. Exactly what happened, George. I've got about 4 more minutes. In these final 3 minutes that we are on our knee, let us not only remember the name George Floyd, but let's remember the countless names that we oftentimes forget of those who have died. Those who've been murdered. Murdered. At the end of a gun that was being held by someone with a badge on. Unlawfully. We got to remember names like Breonna Taylor.
That's right.
We got to remember names like Sandra. We got to remember names like Tamir Rice. When you have these conversations, I want you to do something for me every single time. Somebody say, "What's that?" What's that? Say their names.
Darius Stewart!
Say his name.
Darius Stewart! LaQuan McDonald!
Say their names. Say their names.
Darius Stewart!
Say their names.
Darius Stewart!
Say their names.
Darius Stewart!
Say their names. Say their names.
Breonna Taylor! George Floyd!
If you get to a place tonight as we come off of our knee, say their names. Say their names. Say their names.
Sean Bell! George Floyd! Amanda Castile!
And listen.
Emmett Till! Mike Brown!
That's a good one. Sandra Bland.
Black Wall Street!
Listen, here's the deal. If we stop saying their names, okay. Oh God. Oh God. We're gonna come up from your knee. Come up. Listen, here's the deal. If we stop saying their names, the conversation stops. And we've got to keep the conversation going. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No wrapping up. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. I think they got it, bro. No justice? No peace. Can't hear you. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No justice? No peace. No racist? Police. Y'all sound good, Memphis. Y'all sound real good. Clap it up. All right. I'm so grateful to have dignitaries out here and pastors and civic leaders. Thank you so much for jumping on board. We're so happy to have you. Put your hands together for all the important personnel. Thank you for coming. Listen, one of the things that I want to make sure I get very clear tonight, because I think the news has missed it, and I just want to bring some clarity to it. I like debunking theory, okay? So the news wants everybody to believe that Frank and I don't really like each other, or we can't get on the same page, or whatever the narrative is that's out there. I try not to read, I don't want to quote 45, but I will. I try not to read fake news. Here's the deal. Frank and I are postured much like a lot of us need to be postured. We've got to be able to have conversations and find a middle ground of understanding. So tonight, Frank and I sat down with civic leaders in the city, and we have expressed our grievances, and we're going to move forward. How are we moving? Forward! We're going to move forward together. All right? All right? Y'all kind of quiet out here. Y'all all right? Yeah. Y'all got to hype up. So listen, let's just do the We Ready chant real fast. We're going to do it real fast, okay? Who knows the song? Who knows? Come here. There you got it. Come here. There you go. I knew you were going to. Y'all, if y'all get turned up, this is going to be an amazing experience, okay? Y'all ready? Yeah. All right. I know y'all nervous. Don't be nervous. We're all family out here. Red and yellow, black and white. We're precious in the sight, okay? Come here. Give us the first. Where should go? Give us the first. Come here. Give us the first line, and I want you to lead us in that chant, okay? Now, y'all got to sing this song. Don't embarrass us, Memphis.
Okay, so I need participation, okay? So don't have me out here looking crazy. We got you. So I need y'all to start clapping, whatever beat y'all feel, but I need y'all to clap when I start, okay? All right.
If you're black, we're going to be on this side. And if you're white, we're going to be on this side. Now listen, some of us some of us are considered, if we were taking the ACT, some of us would be considered other. I need all my others right here. You're not black, you're not white. I need you right here. All right? Hey, y'all must be scared.
This is night 8 of protests in downtown Memphis here. Thank you for joining the Commercial Appeal live stream with us this evening. Looks like activists are gathering right now at the I Am a Man Plaza, so stick with us here.
Now what's gonna happen is, this side y'all gonna wish y'all would have scooted in a little bit closer so y'all can be heard. Because that side probably gonna be louder than y'all. So y'all might need to come in a little bit. I'm just giving y'all a cheat code so y'all can win, okay? All right, I'm getting ready to give away some t-shirts. Who wants a t-shirt? All right. Now we got another order of t-shirts on the way, but I gotta check out. I got y'all safe. Hey, I'm gonna say it one more time. My beautiful black people, y'all better come in and fill in, because y'all gonna lose. Y'all better come. We've seen it. Fill in. All right. This is gonna be powerful. Are y'all ready? Yeah. This is gonna be transformative. Are y'all ready? Yeah. All right. I want everybody to scream, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to heal. Do one more time. I'm ready to heal. One more time. I'm ready to heal. One more time. I'm ready to heal. If you're ready, say it. I'm ready to heal. A little louder. I'm ready to heal. One more time. I'm ready to heal. All right, I think y'all ready this time around, Frank. I think they're ready. All right, Frank's gonna be the judge. And I'm telling y'all, I hope y'all can pull it off, because last night our white allies they've been loud, man. They've been loud. So we gotta step our game up. Y'all ready? All right. So you guys, on the count of 3, as loud as you can possibly scream. As loud as you can possibly scream. I want you to scream, I am here. I am here. We've got to have the conversation to where we're mending the community. Part of mending a community is understanding both sides. That means our black brothers and sisters have to be able to communicate, I am angry. I am angry. I am angry. And my white counterparts, you guys are allies. You guys are going to scream, I am here. I am here. They already joined in. I hope y'all ready. All right? Here we go. We're going to start with you guys. All right, you guys are going to say, I am angry. I am angry. One more time. I am angry. I am angry. I like it. I am angry. Are you mad? I am angry. Are you hurt? I am angry. Are you broken? I am angry. Are you tired? That was powerful. I'm going to come on this side, y'all. It feels good to be able to just go ahead and say it. Just go ahead and say it. I'm mad, I'm angry, I'm traumatized, I'm frustrated, I'm over it. I'm tired of looking at it. I'm tired of dealing with it. I'm tired of it. I'm mad, I'm angry, and I'm upset. And we're going to come over here. And we want to hear from you guys. I am here. I am here. One more time. I am here. A little louder. 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 I am here. get on one accord. Before we move on, I'm going to give Frank an opportunity to talk, because I got a big mouth. He hadn't had an opportunity to say anything. Frank, where you at?
How everybody doing? I want y'all to know, especially all the white people out here, from me, I appreciate y'all being out here marching with us every day. I love y'all. Don't think it's no type of hate. I love each and every one of y'all. If y'all want to sit down and conversate with me and get to know me, I'm willing to do that. And all my folks over here, y'all looking good. Y'all showed up today, yeah. And that's what's up, man. Cause it's all about unity. Cause when all of us get together, it ain't no color. It ain't nothing but love. Real talk. I love y'all, and let's do this thing peacefully.
Somebody shout real loud, peacefully! 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 And listen, when we encounter those who don't want to do things peacefully, we're not going to shut them off. We're going to let them express themselves. We're going to let them do whatever they choose to do. They're going to decide they want to go sit in the middle of housing and popular. That's their business. But as for this here movement right here, we're not only going to do it peacefully, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it together. 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 Let me figure something out real fast. I want my right side to say, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I want you guys to say, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Okay, now Frank, come here for a second. You give me that. You close there. You just close your eyes. Oh, no, I'll tell you what. Why don't you just pull it all the way up? Right there.
Oh, snap.
Watch his leg. Watch his leg. All right. Here we go. You ready? All right. Spin you around.
Not too fast.
Take my time. I know you got a covering foot. Spin you around a little bit more. Let me know when you're dizzy. Let me know when you're dizzy. You dizzy? Yeah, I'm dizzy. Okay, I'm going to take you this way, make you a little more dizzy. This is a very similar exercise to this. Okay. Okay, right here. This is a good easy one. All right. Here we go. Now, hold on. Frank, don't look. Can you see? Okay. All right. All right. Here we go. Y'all ready? Yeah. It's going to be powerful. This side right here. Y'all the biggest. I want y'all to say it real loud. Y'all ready? Yeah. Here we go. I can't breathe. Okay. Come on this side. One more second. This side, I need you guys to say, since for my black queens and queens over here, I want y'all to say it real loud. I can't breathe. Okay. Right. I need you to tell me which side is the white side, which side is the black side. Does it sound what? Let me get you a bullhorn so you can say it real loud. Say it one more time, Frank. There you go. Say it loud.
Wait a minute.
Really, y'all sound equally to me.
Frank said that everybody sounded the same. It's hard to tell.
Can I see that?
Now we gotta march that way. If you can't breathe, I can't breathe. And that's the way we're gonna march tonight. Y'all ready? Frank, you ready? You can lift up there. You can definitely lift up there. All right, y'all. Here it is. Our journey's not gonna be long tonight because we don't want it to rain, and we want to get back at a peaceful hour. I only got one request. Somebody say, what? 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 We gotta be turned up. Somebody say, turn up. Turn up. All right.
Turn down for what?
I need this group tonight to be lit. Let me tell you why you gotta be lit. Somebody say, why, man? leaders of systemic racism in the city of Memphis. You guys are the first ones out here since city leaders have addressed decades of systemic racism. Y'all gotta make some noise. All right, good. So here's the deal. My watch is dead. Somebody tell me what time it is.
7:25.
Or 7:25. All right. So I got some instructions. We're gonna leave at 7:32. So for the next 6 or 7 minutes, find somebody that you did not come with. Guess what? And that doesn't look like you. I want you to meet them. Introduce yourself. I want you to tell them, I'm in this with you. I want you to take a picture with that person, and I want you to post it. Go ahead. Let's do it.
If you're just joining us, this is Max Garland with the Commercial Appeal. We have a group at I'm a Man Plaza here protesting following the death of George Floyd. This is the 8th consecutive night. We also have a reporter and a photographer on the scene in downtown, another spot in downtown. There's a second group of protesters marching through the streets of downtown. Again, we have a photographer and a reporter with the group. According to our Catherine Burgess, they are at 201 Poplar shouting, "Let them go." So that is another group we will be following tonight here. This group is led by both Frank Gotti and pastor and activist Devontae Hill. He is organizing that group right now. So stick with us. We'll have updates throughout the night. Thank you. As Devontae Hill said, this is the first march since city and police leaders met with activists who have been protesting over the past 8 days. Apparently they met this afternoon, and they're going to continue to do so, have a series of meetings for the better treatment of African Americans in Memphis. Let me flip around for you here. Specifically in interactions with police officers. Devontae Hill and Frank Gotti say this includes police training, cultural sensitivity training. They had conversations with Memphis Police Director Mike Rawlings. They had conversations about changing the training and how that will be, and training in the use of, to make sure force and power isn't overwhelmingly used. Again, this comes after the deaths of several African Americans and involvements with police. So we're going to have updates on this march throughout the night, and Devontae Hill is about to speak.
We're taking a picture with someone that you don't look like. We got about 4 more minutes.
Demonstrators have been marching throughout downtown Memphis for several nights now. Again, there is a message of unity and peace in their demonstrations. The marches have largely been peaceful, particularly the past 2 nights. Devontae Hill again said that tonight they want to be in before curfew, and before it rains, there is a slight chance of rain for tonight. But again, we also have another march developing in downtown Memphis. Our Catherine Burgess says most recently they were at 201 Poplar. So again, please follow the Commercial Appeal for updates on that, and follow the live stream here to see how this march develops. Thank you. Again, with the slight chance of rain tonight, we'll see if that does anything to dampen the protesters' energy. As far as those meetings, both Frank Gotti and Devontae Hill said they want to hold city leaders accountable and officers with these meetings. Last night, this group went to the historic Mason Temple in South Memphis before marching back here to the I Am a Man Plaza. We did see a group split from Hill's march as they were making their way to the Mason Temple. The group led by L.J. Abraham said the people in that area already understood the protesters' fight, so they should take the demonstration elsewhere. Anyway, but this live stream is again following Devontae Hill and Frank Gotti's march tonight. And it's been expressed that they will once again obey the citywide curfew set for 10 p.m., so stick with us. This crowd is of a similar size as last night. It looks like a few hundred. Again, 8 consecutive days of these demonstrations here in downtown Memphis. Devontae Hill is beginning to speak now. It looks like the march is beginning to organize.
If you need to register to vote, you can come over here and register to vote. If you have not registered to vote, you can come over here.
These demonstrations have been multifaceted. Beyond issues of police brutality, they have also mentioned the Greater Memphis Chamber and things they could do to help support black-owned businesses, issues with MLGW, registering to vote. These demonstrations have been very multifaceted on the issue of racism and equality among African Americans. They've been packing plenty of waters these past few days to stay hydrated in the Memphis heat.
Hey, where the hell is Barbara on this thing? Where Barbara go this man?
As our reporter Desiree Stennett mentioned on Twitter, this protest today it's much more of an event, she said. Tables to register to vote, water, supply stations, extra signs, materials to make signs. It has been like this for the past couple of days, but it is noticeable today as they are making signs right in front of us here on live stream.
Everybody line up. Everybody line up.
Hey, come on, champ.
Stick with us on this march. Again, there is another group of protesters in downtown. We have a reporter and a photographer on the scene there, so again, follow the commercial appeal for the latest updates. Devonta Hill's over there. Let's walk toward him.
I'ma say fired up. Y'all gonna say ready to go. Y'all ready? Fired up. Ready to go. Fired up. Ready to go. Fired up. Ready to go. 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 They ain't not one more time. Ready to go.
Get rubbish. We ready to walk all with one hand.
Now listen. Hold on. They gonna talk bad about us, y'all. Cause y'all not turned. So let's just try it one more time. Fired up. Ready to go. 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 Ready to go. No justice. No peace. No racism. No peace. No justice.
We are now marching.
No racism. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racism. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racism. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racism. Police. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me. Can I get 5 men in the back? Can I get some men in the back? Above my head. Go with the crowd. No justice. No racism. Police. No justice. No peace. No racism.
We're moving northbound here in downtown Memphis on Hernando Street. We're moving toward the FedEx Forum right now.
Y'all not loud enough. No justice. No peace. There's no justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. Come on. No justice. No peace. Come on. No racist. Police.
Y'all walking ahead of me. Y'all gotta slow down.
Y'all ready? Here we go.
Let's go.
Let's move. Hey there, give me some guys. Give me some strong men who can make sure we don't leave anybody behind.
Yes, sir.
I need some strong men in the back. We can't leave nobody behind today. Doesn't matter who you are, you gotta come with us. Come on, let's fill in across the street. Let's fill in all the way across the street. Let's fill all the way in across the street. Let's fill all the way in. All the way in. Listen, you guys are part of history. I want y'all to repeat after me. I am the change. I am the change. Louder. I am the change. Louder. I am the change. Can't hear you.
Moving eastbound.
I am the change. Can't hear you. I am the change. Can't hear you. I am the change. Can't hear you. I am the change. Oh, yeah. Real loud. I am the change.
change. I'm the change. I'm the change. Come on, Memphis. I'm the change. Come on, Memphis. I'm the change. Louder. Harder. Harder. Loud. Can't hear you. Louder. Louder. Yeah. We're gonna stop right here at this intersection. Come on, we're gonna go our way up.
This march continues eastbound on MLK Avenue.
Y'all take a knee. Take a knee.
Taking a pause here on the intersection of BB King and MLK near the FedEx Forum in downtown Memphis.
This here activism working for the faint at heart. Just that little walk right there. I'm out of breath. What about y'all? Somebody said, no, I've been waiting to do this all my life. There's so many signs out here. I'm going to give you guys the benefit of the doubt. And I'm going to believe that your sign tonight resembles your message that you want the world to know. There's a sign tonight that says Jesus' life teaches us to value each other. There's a sign tonight that says Black Lives Matter. There's a sign tonight that says Breonna Taylor. There's a sign tonight that says no justice, no peace. There's another sign tonight that says racism is a public health crisis. There's another sign that says equip doctors with PPP instead of the military with militarized, I don't know what your sign says. Militarized gear. That's a good one, I got it. I see a young black girl with a sign that says, we are worthy.
Yes. Yes.
There's a sign that says change begins with an individual. There's another sign that says say a prayer that change is coming. There's a sign that's lifted by a black mother tonight that says, I'm here for my son. There's a sign tonight that says, no more silence. I know that I'll never understand. However, I still stand with you. Say his name. Say his name.
George
Floyd. Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
Say it louder.
George Floyd.
Say it louder.
George Floyd.
You mean it.
George Floyd.
Say his name.
George Floyd.
A little louder.
George Floyd.
A little louder.
George Floyd.
A little louder.
George Floyd.
Can't hear you, Memphis.
George
Floyd.
George Floyd.
George Floyd.
George Floyd.
Let's go. George Floyd. No justice.
No peace.
Come on. No racism.
No peace.
Slow it down. No justice.
No peace.
No racism.
No peace.
Continuing eastbound on MLK Avenue in downtown Memphis.
I got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me dead.
I got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me dead.
I got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me dead.
Hey, ho ho, those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey,
Ho ho.
yeah.
Those racist cops have got to go.
Hey, hey, ho ho,
Those racist cops have got to go.
hey, 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 ho ho, ho ho.
Those racist cops have got to go.
Hey, hey, ho ho,
Those racist cops have got to go.
hey, hey, ho ho.
Those racist cops have got to
I
go.
got my hand above my head.
Please don't shoot me
I
dead.
got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me
I
dead.
got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me dead.
I got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me dead.
Say Black Lives Matter.
Black lives matter.
Louder.
Black lives matter.
Louder.
Black lives matter.
I hear you.
Black lives matter.
Louder.
Black lives matter.
Louder.
Black lives matter.
approaching 2nd Street right now as this march continues. Again, we're approaching MLK Avenue and the 2nd Street intersection here in downtown Memphis. This march continues.
One big old family reunion. It's a big old family reunion. We might as well go to Gus and get some chicken.
Cops are up ahead, diverting traffic for this march, led by pastor and activist Devontae Hill. We have just passed 2nd Street, excuse me. We're still on MLK Avenue.
We're going to the reflector pole right here. Let's come on, fill in.
Fill it in. Fill it in.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
I got my hand above my head.
Please don't shoot me dead.
I got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me dead.
I got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me
I
dead.
got my hands above my head.
Please don't shoot me dead.
Come on. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Now come on down. No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
Come on, fill in. No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Come in. No racist.
No peace.
Y'all can fill in on this side. No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
Y'all come on in. Let's fill in. Y'all fill in on this. There's plenty of room on this side. We ain't got to stop at the beginning. Y'all don't want to be claustrophobic.
This is called Reflection Park.
There's an open space on this side if y'all want to.
Reflection Park, everybody. I hope you don't fall, Devontae.
Hey, if y'all want to come on in, fill in on this side. There's plenty of room on this side.
Frank.
On this side.
That's the
Listen, this is what I need. I need.
No, I don't.
Where's Lady Stephanie Dillard?
Stephanie!
Where's Lady Stephanie Dillard?
We're now at Reflection Park in downtown Memphis.
Stephanie Dillard. I need a black mother to come and speak.
About 15 minutes into the protest here in downtown Memphis, led by pastor and activist Devontae Hill. He's speaking now.
I need a black mother. I need a white mother to come and speak. An older white mother, if I could. An older white mother, come and speak, please. I need one of you. You got a voice.
It's so good.
I mean, well, I can't. A white mother's a white mother's a mother. Yeah, mother's a mother. Come on.
There you are, Tyler.
Listen. This is gonna be incredible. Are y'all ready?
Yeah.
Y'all good right now? Yeah. Y'all energy sounds real good. Somebody make some noise.
Again, Hill speaking at Reflection Park here in downtown Memphis. Here he is.
On all sides. So I asked a strong black mother to come down, and I asked a strong white mother to come down, and I want each of them to pour out their hearts right here. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for that? All right, here's the deal. Look, over here to my left. This looks like a fire hydrant. Let me get some of y'all to come on this side right here. That makes me nervous over there. Y'all, some of y'all come over here. Y'all can't breathe, we can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
I can't breathe.
You can't breathe.
Tell them again. All right, y'all ready? Yeah. Are y'all turned up? Yeah. Are y'all turned up?
Yeah, we turned up. What? I'm trying to understand. Look for my bullhorn. I got my hands above my head.
Here, thank God for Brother Devontae Hill and each and every one of you. This must happen. I'm glad that it's going on. Sorry for the sad occasion, but our children, we have 3 children, Faith, Trey, and Joy, each and every one of them, from elementary school all the way to high school, has experienced racism. The first incident, our daughter's name was put on a kill list. That was in elementary school. Another incident, our son was called a nigger by a student. The principal called me, and when he got home, I asked him about it. And the precious thing about it is, when I asked him, you know, how did he feel about his classmate calling him a nigger, his response was, Mom, he didn't know what he was saying. Hey! Wow. The most recent event, our daughter, she's a senior, coming up on this year, so excited about that. But just a year or 2 ago, she had racial slurs written all on her desk, and she's the only black student in that class. It was kind of brushed over by the administration, so we know all too often about inequality, injustice, and racism. But I honestly believe, even though we experience hurt, it looks like from week to week, all day long, you're looking at the various things on social media concerning police brutality. I honestly believe that a change is coming, and it's starting right now, right here. And I thank God for my sister right here.
Somebody say,
Katie.
Somebody say, hey, Katie.
Hey, Katie.
Go on in, girl.
Right. I am your typical white suburban mom. I have a 15-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, and we have honestly sat at home watching the protest after Trayvon, watching the protest between then and now. And my 13-year-old daughter over the weekend said, Mama, why are we sitting on our couch? Wow. And I said, well, I just don't know if we took you down to a protest if it would be safe. Yeah. And then it occurred to me that that is my white privilege, that I can decide where to take my son and whether he's going to be safe. I can send him out my front door any day, any time of day, and I'm not scared he's not coming home. I can buy the boy a hoodie, and I'm not worried about him getting shot. I can send him to school in a car with a headlight out, and I don't have to worry that he's going to get arrested. So we're not sitting on the couch anymore. I do now live in the suburbs, but my couch is going to see a whole lot less action. And our family has come to the realization that we are late to this type of activity, but it is time. We white folks cannot sit at home. Come on, Katie! Jesus, God in heaven, created each and every one of our children. Come on, Jesus! Come on, every person is precious to him. Every homeless person you pass on the street.
Talk, Katie. Talk, Katie.
Take us to church, Katie. How much melanin is in their skin? They're a child of God, and we need to stand together. Love and justice and freedom and safety for everyone's children. And if you're sitting at home on your white suburban couch, bring it home, Katie. Go to church on Sunday.
Okay. Her and Lady Dillon, we might have to take up an offer for them. Listen, to all my white allies out here, your presence right now is not only needed, it's necessary. It's necessary. We need you more now than we ever have before. The reason being, we have never, ever in the time of history, during the civil rights movement, we've never had such a large degree of white allies. We have never had it. We've never had it. This moment right here, Memphis, can be the paradigm shift that not only the city needs, not only the state needs, I believe in not only the country needs, but the world needs to start right here. They say I'm delusional and they say I'm crazy. If that's a place where Memphis is peaceful, if that's the place where Memphis is equal, if that's the place where Memphis is the change agent for the world, well, by golly, I guess I'm real crazy then. Ready to go? Ready to go? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? Let's go then. Are y'all ready to make a hole?
Max Garland with the commercial appeal here. We're just wrapping up at MLK Reflection Park here as the downtown demonstrations continue. We also have reporter Catherine Burgess following a separate protest group. This one is of a few hundred, led by pastor and activist Devontae Hill. Stick with us as we are leaving MLK Reflection Park. We'll get up front here. We're continuing here on MLK Avenue, just leaving the Reflection Park.
All right, y'all feel like y'all ready to go. Everybody fill in. Fill in where you fit in.
Fill in.
heading down Main Street. The Civil Rights Museum is up ahead.
One more time, say. I think we're ready. Sounds like we're ready. I think we're ready.
Again, we're heading north on Main Street here in Memphis. We are a couple blocks from the National Civil Rights Museum. Again, we are headed southbound. Southbound on Main Street.
Stop right here. Stop right here. Stop right here.
My voice gone. My voice gone.
We are pausing on the intersection of Main and Pontotoc. As the protesters approach, got a couple hundred here tonight. The 8th straight night of protests here in downtown Memphis. There's Frank Gotti. Unclear where Devontae Hill is, who has also been leading these protests. I assume he's still in the crowd. Everyone's beginning to kneel. Again, at the intersection of Main Street and Pontotoc in downtown Memphis.
Listen here. I need a middle-aged Caucasian man to come to the front and speak to me. Middle-aged Caucasian man. I mean, your heart seems bleeding. You think your heart is bleeding? Okay, come on. I'm gonna meet you in the front. Where's somebody? Come on. I need a middle-aged African-American man to come in. You need to get some off the chair. Just say it. Oh, yeah. All right, I'm gonna choose somebody. Oh, come here, Alan. Somebody say, come here, Alan. Tell me your name, my friend. Say David. David. We got David. So I say, what's up, David? What's up, Alan? David and Alan are going to briefly share the sentiments of their heart real fast, okay? All right.
I'm tired of all this hate. I'm tired of seeing my city act like this. We all need to come together. We all need to love each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, baby!
To be together. During all this, all we have is each other. You know what I mean? So come together and love each other. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir.
We need to all come together and stand with each other, okay? Okay? Okay?
Yes,
sir. Okay? Yes, sir. I'm tired of this. Everybody killing each other, especially these officers killing each other, and our black men. And our black men.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. You got church. Go ahead. You got church. We take these 9-minute breaks, not just because we're tired. fire, we take them in symbolism of the murder. Cold-blooded, in front of our face, murder of George Floyd. We're going to pause for a minute. We're going to remember George Floyd. We're going to honor him because he didn't have to die like that.
Yes, sir.
And we're also going to honor him because his name has literally impacted the world, including in Memphis.
Moment of silence. For the rest of our journey, I'm hoping that you guys, by now, understand why we're out here. I'm hoping by now you guys will have an exceptional amount of energy. I'm believing by the time we make it to our destination tonight, which is going to be a very special one, I'm believing by the time we get there, there'll be an unprecedented amount of unity that'll sweep this group of people right here. And you'll go back to your respective homes, your neighborhoods, and you'll infect everyone that you're close to with love, with harmony, with joy, with equality, with love, with respect, no matter who they are, no matter where they come from, no matter the color of their skin, no matter what God they serve. We have got to learn to respect people. You got to respect everybody. At the time, there was a song that would say, red and yellow, black and white. We are precious in His sight. Jesus loved the little children of the world. Didn't say He loved the little black children of the world. Didn't say He loved the little white children of the world. He didn't even say He loved just the Christian children of the world. He says He loves the little children of the world. I don't know about you, but I was once a little child. And I know He loved me. Y'all stand up. Y'all ready? Now, did y'all see the video yesterday when we were in the tunnel and we were turning up? Y'all want to do this too?
Yeah!
Y'all want to go in the tunnel and turn up? Woo! Y'all got to be real loud on the way there, right? So here's the deal. There it is. I'm going to walk out. There's a
Devontae Hill's moving back into the crowd. Looks like we're going to go further south on Main Street.
Back down this street again.
We're about a third of a mile from the National Civil Rights Museum, third of a mile further south here on Main Street.
south.
It appears that is the destination for tonight.
No peace.
The march continues south.
No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racist. No peace. Everybody no justice. No peace. All right, no racist. No peace. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. Come on. No justice. No peace. Slow down. No racist. No peace. Slow down. No justice. No peace. Slow down. No racist. No peace. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. Come on. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No racist.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
Louder.
No peace. No peace. No peace. No peace.
We just passed Talbot Avenue here in downtown Memphis. We're moving further south down Main Street. About a quarter of a mile from the National Civil Rights Museum. Stick with us.
Y'all are going to love working on our way to.
Pick your chest up.
Slow down. We can't leave anybody behind.
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe go there.
Listen.
Are you with them?
Now I really can't breathe.
Hey, y'all, over to the left. Walk my pace. Slow down. Walk my pace. Walk my pace.
That's what we here for.
Because we leaving people, y'all.
Okay.
Like I was a zombie mob back there. Back up front.
Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Real loud. Real loud. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Louder. Ho, ho. Hey. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Hey, ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Those racist cops have got to go. Hey, hey. Lives matter. Those racist lives matter. Black lives matter. Hey. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Black lives matter. Louder. Louder.
Police are diverting traffic up ahead. We continue down South Main.
I can't hear you. Say loud. Say loud. Say louder.
It appears the destination is the National Civil Rights Museum. Just passing Grizzlies as well.
Y'all got me running. Y'all, hey, y'all slow. Hey, y'all, slow. Come back. Y'all slow down. Louder.
Crowd continues to be a little on the fast side.
Louder. Louder.
Detour here on the intersection of Main and Patterson.
There might be a home out there, but when you go that way.
Looks like we have a detour to the left here on Patterson. Devontae Hill is telling protesters to take a knee. Again, at the intersection of Patterson and South Main.
Okay, you guys get ready to pass out. Look for one of them, okay? You guys feel like you're getting a little crazy? You want some water? Grab one of them, all right? Listen, y'all sound good. Y'all sound good. Y'all sound good, Memphis. Y'all sound
I'm just glad you didn't throw it at me like everybody else did. I forced the water yesterday and they just started throwing it.
Hey, you guys, grab your bottle of water. Anybody need water? Who needs water? Raise your hand if you need water. We got backpacks full of water. Somebody put a bottle of water in somebody's hand if they're looking for it. Here it is. Grab you some water.
That look too calm, Vontae.
I know that's why I have to stop them, man, because I can't take them under that tunnel. They calm like this. Look, guess what? This y'all street. So you gotta turn up a little bit. Y'all ready to turn up? Somebody say turn up, turn up. Turn up, turn up. Turn up, turn up. Turn up, turn up. Say, oh, man. Oh, man. Turn up, turn up. Turn up, turn up. All right. We gotta get this truck lit. Y'all hear me? Some of all the folks like this. The job lit? What is that? What is the job? What is lit? That means we gotta get hyped. Y'all ready to get hyped? Y'all ready to get hyped? Oh, I bet you won't.
Hey, he gonna need some space, man.
I don't believe that. Hold on, y'all.
Frank Gotti said he can beat you dancing. Frank Gotti said he can beat you dancing, famous.
Y'all ready?
Hey, y'all, if y'all haven't Googled famous Amos, y'all need to look him up. He's famous.
You ain't finna turn it up?
Where we going? I know what's finna go. Right here waiting on us. Where we going, bro? Where we going, bro? Where we going? We going that way.
He said he finna turn it up.
Open it up, y'all. Open it up.
He finna turn it up. He finna turn it up.
We're on Patterson Street, about to hit the intersection with Front Street. Still here in downtown Memphis. The 8th straight day of protests following the death of George Floyd. Again, we are hitting the intersection of South Front Street and Patterson Avenue.
They want you to lose your momentum. They said y'all are tired already. Are you tired? Here we go. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racist. Police. No justice. No peace. Real out. No racist. Police. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. I don't hear you up there. Please don't shoot me dead. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. Let me hear some. No justice. No peace.
We're continuing westbound down Patterson Avenue.
Let me hear some. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No race.
We're about to reach Tennessee streets.
George Floyd.
As this march continues.
George Floyd. George Floyd.
This march began at the I Am a Man Plaza. It's now about to hit the intersection of Tennessee Street and Patterson Avenue. One of our reporters at the CA is also following. That reporter is also following a second group of demonstrators in downtown Memphis. We are following one of those groups.
Hold on, slow down, slow down, slow down. Hey, y'all in the front, y'all gotta slow down. All right, y'all gotta slow down, slow down. Who street? Our street. 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 Y'all not loud. Our street. Who street? Our street. Little bit louder. Our street. Little bit louder. Our street. Who street? Our street. Who street? Our street. Who street? Our street. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. Slow down, right? No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace.
We're now heading north of Tennessee streets.
I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead.
The chants are echoing. We just passed the lofts at South Bluffs.
Please don't shoot me dead. No justice. No peace. No racist. No peace. No justice. No peace. No racist. No peace. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. I got my hands above my head. Please don't shoot me dead. Senator George Floyd. Senator George Floyd. A little bit louder. George Floyd. A little bit louder. George Floyd.
headed toward the Riverwalk here in downtown Memphis. Devontae Hill is now leading protesters toward the Riverwalk. We are at Butler Park.
Y'all sound good. I don't know whose idea it was to put me up here, but I'm going to lean more on this side.
I got you back here. You ain't gonna fall.
But the beautiful thing about all of us being brothers and sisters is that when one brother falls, because I am my brother's keeper, I'm going to help him back up. Y'all clap that out. Do me a favor. Memphis, y'all feeling good about this? Y'all feeling good about this? Good. Okay. All right. Look here. I want you to look at the person to your right. Look at the person to your right, and hopefully they don't look like you. And if they do, find you another person to your right. Find you somebody that don't look like you. Just get beside somebody that don't look like you. Because we all kind of look alike. I got white features with black skin. That's cool. I got a little nose. Little lips. It's cool though, I'm still a little bit. Alright. Listen, look at that person that doesn't look like you and say, I got you. I got you. Tell him I got you. Hey, do me another favor. Do me another favor.
Monte, we got you. We got you.
I appreciate that. Sometimes I need to know that people got me. I appreciate that. I got you too. Listen, look at the other person on the other side and say, I got you too.
And I got you. I got you too. I got y'all too. I got you. I got you. That's all right. I got you too, girls. That's all right.
Listen. Man, that feels good. If you got me, and if I got you, then we got each other.
We
I'll
gonna
say
make
it
this
one more time for the people in the back.
do it together.
If you got me, and I got you, that means we got each other. Now y'all starting to sound a little bit like Memphis. Y'all starting to sound a little bit like Memphis now. So listen, one thing we got to make sure we're doing is breaking the internet. We got to break the, and there's so much negativity. So much negativity all over the internet today.
No, that's right.
And we want to be the catalyst of change. Somebody say, I am the change agent. I am the change agent. Memphis resides in your hands. It's up to you. It's up to you with the red hair. It's up to you, Mr. Police Hat. It's up to you, Mr. Ballhead. It's up to you, Miss Doctor. It's up to you with the green sign. Almost here every night. I've been seeing it. It's up to you, my friend with the camera. It's up to you, my friend with the sign. It's up to you, my friend with the pink tank top. It is up to you. Listen, not only is it up to you, but it's up to all of us. I just heard somebody say that. It's up to all of us. Somebody say, I am us. I am us. We are we. We are we. All right. Listen, we've got to come together as a community, guys. We've got to do it. We've got to come together. And right now, more than ever before, Memphis can be the change agents to change the entire world. Mickey, I don't think they were excited enough. Let's try it again. Memphis is going to be the change agent for the entire world. So here's what we're going to do. Somebody say what? What? We are going to go down these stairs. Let's go. And we're going to go to Tom Lee Park. We're going to join hands for a huge circle. All right? And then we're going to follow instructions from there. Y'all ready? Yeah. I'm going to lead the way. Y'all going to follow? Yeah. I'm going to lead the way. Y'all going to follow? Here we go.
Exercise, get your cardio in. Get your cardio in. I'm going to work yourself to show you.
If you're just joining us, we have a group of protesters and demonstrators about to join hands at Tom Lee Park.
Police! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! Same day!
The protesters right now are walking down to Tom Lee Park.
No justice! No peace! No racist! Police! No justice! No peace!
The protesters are continuing to climb down the stairs here. They're entering Tom Lee Park now. But we still have a long group of protesters waiting to get down those stairs. Again, as this is happening, there's a separate group of protesters downtown that our commercial appeal reporter Catherine Burgess is following. Let's join back up with the front of the group here as they're about to form a circle at Tom Lee Park, holding hands together. can see the bridge up ahead. Again, check out commercialappeal.com. We have the latest news. There's some big news today with an agreement between city and police officials and activists to continue meetings and conversations about police training and law enforcement. Devontae Hill, the one speaking, he's beginning to form a circle here at Tom Lee Park. The second group in downtown has mostly disbanded, I've just heard. So now we're sticking with this group. Still has a couple hundred in it. Here's the circle beginning to form.
Alright, come on, y'all fill in. Y'all, people are still coming down the stairs. How amazing is this?
It's about 8:45. The sky's getting darker, so forgive the lack of light here.
No justice! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racist! No peace! I got my hands above my head! Please don't shoot me dead! I got my hands above my head! Please don't shoot me dead! Come on! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No racist! No peace! Say his name! Say his name! Say his name! A little bit louder! A little bit louder! Like you mean it! George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd! George Floyd! Real loud! Say it louder! To the top of your lungs!
We have a circle of protesters and demonstrators forming around us here at Tom Lee Park in downtown Memphis.
Alright, if you're just now getting out here, find yourself in this circle. We're not leaving anybody behind. Woo!
This is becoming a very large circle.
If you're just getting out here, find yourself in a circle, please. Come on. Alright, we can't be out here too much longer. Come on, find yourself in the circle. Find yourself in the circle. Hey, it's a lot of room over here. Y'all fill in on this side. Y'all can. There is a sound, Memphis, that comes from your voice that forces change in every zip code of this city. Nights like tonight, Memphis is dependent on you. Everybody won't get it. Everyone won't understand. But tonight, Memphis, you being here tonight is a symbolization that change is on the way. That sounded good if I was telling y'all that they were about to open Bass Pro. But now I want y'all to scream as if Memphis has just made it to the Final Four. You're about to be a part of a world-changing movement and starting right here in Memphis. That's right. Home city. 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 Get louder than that. Get louder than that. Come on now. Home city. Home city. Home city.
Entirely around us, we have demonstrators here at Tom Lee Park. Devontae Hill earlier said they are going to leave around 9. But again, for now, these hundreds remain at Tom Lee Park.
Please don't shoot me dead. No peace. No peace. No peace. Police. George Floyd. 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 George Floyd.
We'll catch back up with Devontae Hill here, who is organizing this movement. It is a very long distance. Well, not really.
Whip out your cell phone. Cut the flashlight on. Alright, y'all gonna bounce them jumps. Y'all ready? Oh man, this is gonna be amazing. Left to right. Oh man.
Up and
So y'all gonna go. This how y'all gonna do. We ready. We ready. We ready. Boy, say it one more time.
Y'all don't cheer.
I wanna hear you say. Y'all not loud, Memphis. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Now sing it like you mean it. What? Last time. Keep on singing it. One more time, sing. We ready? We ready? Yeah. One more time, say. Yeah. Sing it, yeah. Oh. Come on, sing it, yeah. Come on, say. Come on, say. One more time. I can't hear you, Memphis.
We are headed to Maine and Butler right now. We heard there could be a conflict involving police there. So that is where we are heading now. Change that. Looks like for now anyway, we're going to stay right here with Devontae Hill's group here in downtown Memphis at Tom Lee Park. But if there is anything notable there, we will let you know at the commercial appeal. For now, though, we're at Tom Lee Park where several hundred are gathered in a circle for a demonstration led by activist Devontae Hill.
Hot dog, come get your hot dog. Say the people hot dog. Hot dog, come on get your hot dog.
And they free. Free hot dog.
Now, though, we will be heading we will be heading to Maine and Butler here on this commercial appeal live stream. We heard there could be a potential conflict there involving police officers. As soon as we get there, we will let you know what is going on. Again, we will keep you updated on any potential conflicts here on the commercial appeal live stream. We've been following demonstrations throughout the night. As we walk here, it should be noted that city and police leaders, along with activists leading protesters over the past 8 days, they did meet this afternoon. And it was regarding, they're going to hold several meetings actually after this one. It's going to be for several days now, for several days within the month. Sorry, running and texting and talking at the same time. Anyway, so activists and city officials are going to be meeting over the next month, for better treatment of African American citizens amid police brutality, specifically in interactions with police officers. Leading these protests have been Devontae Hill and Frank Gotti. What they're asking for is more police training, including cultural sensitivity training. They have had conversations with Police Director Rawlings about changing that training, potentially changing the training of Memphis Police Department. So we will see where those conversations go. For right now, we are walking toward an area where there potentially will be more law enforcement involvement. Again, we are headed to that area now. So stay with us here on this live stream as we walk. The demonstration we were just following, they did have police cars throughout the night diverting traffic ahead of them. Those protests have complied with the city curfew of 10 p.m. We'll see if that continues tonight. We see a group gathered up here, along with a handful of police vehicles. Stick with us here as we see what exactly the situation is. Again, about an hour until that curfew enforced by the city. These past few nights, we have seen that curfew take effect and be effective. Most protesters dispersed after that curfew hit. We will see if that is the case tonight. We see several police officers here. Traffic is slowed here. We see some protesters making their way from Devontae Hill's march. Let's walk up ahead.
That's not the race. You're not white. This people right here is white. Their skin is red. My skin is brown.
Why did you not know about it? Okay, I'm going to let you go ahead.
Mind to explain to the camera? Why? You get in the front or? Hi everyone. You've just arrived as another protest downtown has dispersed. Do I need to speak louder? Okay. So this second protest downtown has just dispersed. You unfortunately arrived too late to see what was going on. This protest here has marched all over downtown. It started and finished at the National Civil Rights Museum. And it was just wrapping up when a group of Israelite saints was having their own small protest here and upset some members of the group. So they decided to do their own march around to protest racism, since this group of Israelite saints was speaking about how black people and white people should not be working together. So they were doing one more loop around the area when the group came around a police car, and there was an intense confrontation. It was very brief. Eventually they backed off. An officer actually apologized. A black officer apologized for the actions of a white officer. And then the group stood in the road a little longer, spoke a bit, and now everybody's kind of dispersing. You can see some people trickling around. And over here we have a few remaining protesters from the main group that was protesting the death of George Floyd, speaking to a few of the people who were here from the Israelite Saints group. So not a whole lot going on down here anymore. Looks like things are really getting wrapped up.
That was reporter Catherine Burgess with us here live. She was following a second group of protesters downtown. Again, here at the Commercial Appeal, we are following all developments regarding these protests that have gone on over the past 8 days. It's been more than a week.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. With ships. With ships. With ships.
As a few of those protesters continue speaking, we do have some people from the Devontae Hill demonstration. Looks like they are walking home. It's unclear if Devontae Hill asked everyone to leave then, or if people are following him back to the original location of the I Am a Man Plaza.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. Hold on, change that word from Egypt to bondage. Okay. I am not changing the word of God. I did not change the word of God. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2, it says, I will bring you out of the house of bondage. Egypt means the house of bondage. The house of Egypt. Deuteronomy 28, 68. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Walked into Egypt the last time. So why would we need ships to go into Egypt again?
As our reporter Catherine Burgess did note, things did escalate here briefly, but it looks like things have cooled down after that. These protests, over the past few days at least, have largely been peaceful.
What's the name of this city? What's the name of this city? Hosea chapter 9,
looks like police presence in this area has been reduced.
Revelation chapter 11, verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. Which is spiritually called what? Which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt.
No, they have homosexuals and bondage. Sodom, the place where homosexuality was taking place. I know why God is doing it. I just understand why. Why does God approve of slavery? God approved slavery because we had disobeyed. We transgressed the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. Therefore, He will send you into bondage, into Egypt, again, with ships. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you. No man has bought us back. Marcus Garvey tried, Medgar Evers tried, Malcolm X tried, Dr. Martin Luther King tried, Sojourner Truth tried, Ned Turner tried.
Again, thank you for joining us today on the Commercial Appeal live stream. The most notable thing perhaps today has been that city and police leaders, along with activists leading the protesters over the past 8 days, said they met this afternoon and are going to hold several meetings over the next month regarding better treatment of African American citizens, specifically with relations with police officers. Frank Gotti and Devontae Hill, who have both been leading protests throughout Memphis over these past 8 days. They said could potentially be better police training that involves more cultural sensitivity training, things of that nature. There have been conversations with Director Mike Rawlings of the Memphis Police Department regarding improved training in that sense. So please let us know what you guys think. Otherwise, thank you for supporting local journalism. We will see you next time. Thank you.